So, hey guys, we are live. I have my good colleague Shakema with me. She's here to share her debt-free journey with you all. I'm so excited. I hope you can stay tuned through the whole thing and get some nuggets, maybe hear some ways she did it and try to connect with her after the video loads on your post or to be able to contact her or just support her as well. I'll leave those links in the group. I have that in a message coming up after this video, as well as if you're watching this on YouTube, that will be in the description box below to be able to kind of connect and support her on her journey. So Shakema, yeah, you paid off a good piece of debt. How much debt did you pay off? About how long did it take you? Kind of run us through what happened there.
Well, first of all, I do want to thank you so much for having me on your show. This is awesome, totally awesome. I paid off. It doesn't sound like a big amount, but when you understand the background and the backstory, it was about $10,000, and it took me about 10 years to get to that point where I could pay it off. But I'm a single mom raising 4 kids. I had a 4-month-old baby when I found myself being a single mom for the first time. I was left with all the debt, all the credit card debt. There was things taken out in my name I didn't even know about. And I'm trying to figure out, how am I going to feed my children, not to mention pay off this debt that I know that I have. Credit card companies are saying, you have to balance. I'm going, no, I don't. Oh, yes, you do. So $10,000, 10 years, but it was a struggle. But I'm thankful to be debt free. I'm 1 year post debt payment, and we are debt free except for our home. Oh,
wow. So how long have you been, so what really kind of kicked it off?
I think it was being single, finding yourself in this marriage. You think that's going to last for, your whole life. You take these vows till death do us part, and neither one of us are deceased. So what happened? So my son was 4 months old. His dad walked out the door one day, never came back, just left. And I asked the Lord, I said, how am I going to feed my kids? And I struggled. I struggled for months and months and months.
Being single, and you think that's going to last for, your whole life. You take these vows.
They weren't going to have the life I wanted them to have. And my son, him sitting in his car seat, and I said, God, you got to help me. And financial peace was being offered at my church. I didn't even have the money to take the class. It was $100. I didn't have $100. I probably didn't have 100 cents, but I prayed and I asked God, I said, you got to help me. And out of nowhere, $100 showed up. And then you have to think in your mind, because I still got, kids, they need food. Do I really want to spend this money on this class, or do I go to the grocery store? And I made a decision that it was going to benefit us in the long run to take the class, to learn what I needed to learn. And then I would be able to feed them after that.
Oh, okay, cool. So you find yourself in a divorce, you got a young child, and you're just really starting life on your own. The resources are not as much. What kind of how did you kind of accept that? Because this debt wasn't yours. So that's even a whole different story. I mean, it's some debt that I'm like, yeah, I did it, signed it. But when you're talking about, I didn't even do none of this stuff. So to pay off that, like, what did you have to do in your mind frame to kind of work yourself through that piece?
One of the things that I had to do was realize that when I married him, I took vows, and those vows were to conjoin everything in our lives together. And here it was that he had taken out things in my name. And I said, my name is on this. I'm going to be responsible for it. I didn't deny the fact that my name was attached to it. I knew I didn't do it, but I had, because at the end of the day, I had to remember my personal self-integrity. I needed to be integrous in my dealings moving forward, and how I was going to project myself and portray myself moving forward. Even though I had this traumatic situation happen and I didn't have any part in some of that, I was still connected to that person. And so I took it on. I said, yes, I will take all, because he left. He did not leave. Period. It was done. But I on, even to the fact that even years after, about 4 or 5 years after, the state garnished my wages. And I called them and I said, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? They said, well, you owned a vehicle with this person and they failed to pay. They left the state, so we're getting you. And I had even already agreed to pay it. I called him. I said, let me pay this. So this will not be on my, my stuff. And it didn't work out. So even after, years after, I'm still paying for stuff that I didn't do, but it was my name. If all I had is my name, if my word is my bond, then I have to take that personal responsibility, and I have to do that.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned something that is so common. I know for me, my mom co-signed for me, and there's a lot of conversations about even co-signing, no matter what the relationship is. It could be parent to child, it could be husband and wife, but really understanding the brevity of. It's not just a risk that, this person will pay, but I'm like, yeah, but everybody's situation is different. You may value your name and you may value your financial wellness and how that looks in your financial picture. But the person who's borrowing with you may not care about any of that. You know what I mean? If anything goes down, they be like, hey, they toss the keys and they just walk and they going. So it's really hard to make those decisions knowing that you really don't fully know, and even once you've been around somebody, how long do you really fully know how they react? So no, that's tremendous. So you had limited resources, you saw this journey, and obviously you're going through financial peace, so you started to learn how to do the budget, right? So before then you hadn't really done a budget, or what did that look like?
We had not done a budget. I had asked for years and years to sit down and do a budget. And if I could tell you so much more of the backstory, it would make sense. But I didn't grow up in a family that did budgets. We just spent whatever, and you borrowed this and paid that and borrowed some more. And there was no training, no teaching. And then when I moved into a marriage, there was no training, no teaching. And it was, we got 30 days to pay it, so we'll wait to the last 30 and then we'll juggle all the bills. After the fact, it was like, I can't keep doing this. I'm dodging bill collectors. I ain't answering my phone. Go to the mailbox because you don't know what's going to be in there. I'm like, more. So I did approach him when I was married, and I said, can we sit down and try to figure this out? He was not on board with that, and we did it. And even after I did start doing financial peace, my biggest thing was just to do the budget, just to write it down. It wasn't even necessarily sticking to it. I just had to better. Like I didn't waste my $100, but after a certain amount of time, I began to look at it and evaluate and analyze where my money was coming from. And I'm limited income. I'm an educator. I worked 10 months. For 2 months, I'm unemployed, but I do not get to claim unemployment. So I ain't supposed to do it anyway. So it's like, how do you live on 10 months worth of money? And back then, I was making probably $12,000 less than I make now. And I'm only making this much now because of the state legislature. It wasn't that I didn't get any of my steps, none of the things they were promised when I went into this job. But I was just really living on a wing and a prayer of how to do it. And it was tough. It was a struggle. Some months it still is. I mean, just this morning, the washing machine is acting crazy and I got to, how you going to work?
Right. Different set of problems. Like people don't understand. Like you move from one problem to the next. Life progressively doesn't get easier. It's a different set of problems. But yeah, you definitely rather have to deal with the washer than $10K worth of debt or live. Like you pick your poison in that fashion. So talk to me a little bit about the limited income and what did you see from the budget? So you said about how long before you actually started evaluating? Like how did you kind of get yourself connected in the budget and start making sense?
It took me probably about 6 years. Solid years of just because my mind, it still wasn't. I knew I didn't have enough money to cover everything, but I couldn't figure out how to decrease the things I didn't need. Like we don't need cable TV. It took me, God knows, years to get rid of cable, and I'm paying $100+ a month just to watch TV. Thank the Lord for Roku and Chrome. Streaming, I would just watch YouTube. Let me catch it later. I don't have that instant gratification. So when I really started evaluating my budget, it was like, Shakema, you really could do without this line item. And then I started into couponing because if I could pay my bills, I wasn't worried about feeding the children. I could use coupons. I am a coupon queen. I have a lot of stuff in my garage that tells you that I know how to work that dollar. So people would say, Shakema, well, I don't, how are you doing this? I took my grocery monies to pay bills because I learned another skill on how to feed the kids. And then I would be like, okay, well, maybe if I barter with a friend who needs babysitting services, they could do something for me and I could decrease this type of bill. Even to the point where, because I do work in a school system, I was able to work it out where my daughter could ride the bus from my school to her school. I didn't have to have more care. There were just things I had to figure out of how I could shave the limited resources. And at that time, my ex was not paying child support. And I have my youngest son. I have 4 children. My youngest son was asthmatic. He's in and out of the hospital, more doctor's bills, more things. And I'm like, God, how can I, do all of this? So then it was, well, Shakema, how can you keep him well? Let's not do doctor's bills if you can figure out how to keep him well. So it was still every month looking at that budget. I mean, I look at my budget every single day because I need to know what's coming in and what's going out and who I need to pay. And then, people are like, oh, you don't have cable at your house. We do not have cable, but we don't have debt either. So I just had to choice. It was something that wasn't important to me. Or let me combine my errands all in one day so I'm not wasting all of my gas because I don't have gas to just going everywhere. Or, okay, this is my set amount of money for the month. I'm a once a month paid employee. I don't have checks coming every week. So I have to divide that by 4. And this is what I did for this week. And then I just work. People's like, well, I only get paid once a month. That doesn't mean you have to spend it at one time. Divide up spending that way you have that gratification of having something in your pocket, going forward. So it was it was self-evaluation for me. It was, you're doing this. Some of this stuff was done to you, but you're perpetuating it because you're not changing your habits. You're not doing it differently, and you need to do something different. So
you just kind of ran through it. Stuff was done to us. We've all signed a bad car deal. We got ourselves into student loans. We didn't know. We really didn't know. So it's only going to be one of those things of, okay, I had this bad deal. I'm gonna have to pay the cost. Maybe there's some ways in a car I can sell and not pay as much. Okay, cool, and move on. But you're right, I have to change. And what you just kind of mentioned, just a few kind of statements back, is look at how creative you got, where you were looking at, okay, to the point of, hey, my daughter can ride this bus to her school, and that helps me with, and she can do that for free. Obviously, couponing, that's just a wonder beyond amazement. But you got so creative, and then also you got very, very strategic, because now this is starting to bleed over into how you operate your life. Like you said, you're not running around town all the time. When, to run different errands, you're like, well, let me see if I can do this way. Another good question, I had one, but another good question of someone listening was, how did you keep your momentum and motivation when or if you felt like you weren't moving forward?
I tell people all the time, I say you have to celebrate the small victories. We want to get to the end of the race and just, break the ribbon and woo, everybody. But listen, if I make it to the next mile marker, I'm doing good. So I had to go back and think about, okay, Shakema, you might have missed it this time, but remember when you hit the mark last time, and you just pick yourself up. There were hard days of not having anything, or not feeling like you did well. And then as I began to share my journey with other people, they would say, good job, Shakema, or you're doing good, or I see you doing well. So share your financial journey with somebody that you can trust it with, so that they can encourage you along the way. Not telling everybody your business, but who can I share what I'm going through, so that when I do good, they're going to say, good job. So it hasn't always been easy, but I'm telling you, it is worth it. It's been worth it. And for me now, when I look at my adult children, I have a 30-year-old, I have a 24-year-old, 16 and 11. My older children are debt free. They are seeing a different mom than what they saw coming up. They're not seeing the struggle and the crying and the the pencil and paper with the pens in your head trying to figure it out. It's seeing that it's a little easier, and they have investments, and they have savings, and because I'm trying to teach them so that I can change my family narrative. I know how growing up, and I don't want that for my children. So my children have been a big motivator. Again, from 4 months till 11 years, my youngest has seen, they don't know lack or want, but it's not because I have it all. It's just because I did things differently. They had what they had, and that's what we had. And to them, it was the world. To me, I knew it wasn't enough, but now they can ask for things, and I'm like, okay, let's evaluate this spending.
I need a presentation. I had one friend who her son did a whole PowerPoint. Oh, this is why I need a Nintendo DS. I'm like, dude, you got to give it to him just for doing the PowerPoint. But for that, so you kind of hit on another good point of, so you have kids in this scenario. It's the emotional pressure, right? You know what I mean? Like you said, not feeling validated in yourself. What did birthdays, and how did you kind of figure in those things, those celebrations, back to school, all those different things, while still trying to keep the focus going forward?
Well, it's interesting that you bring up birthdays, because it was a birthday that actually led me into couponing. I was going to church one night. My daughter, she was having her birthday the very next day. I had nothing to give her. I didn't have any money. I didn't have anything. And we had a pantry at the church at the time. I'm an educator, and I'm going to the food pantry. My pastor said, Shakema, there's cake mix out there in the pantry. Go get it and make your daughter a cake. And I'm a good cook. I'm a great homemaker. That was the worst cake I've ever made in my life. And I looked at it. I was like, God, this can't be it for me. Come on. We decided we would do I would explain to my kids, my daughter's birthday is in January. It's cold. Ain't nobody doing nothing in January. But in summertime, we have the beach. We don't need to pay for anything. We have free movies in the park. We can go and do movies. Let's pack a lunch with all these couponing goodies that mama got, and we can go sit out places. I couldn't do the traditional things that everybody else was doing, but we still celebrated in our own way. And my kids have learned that being financially solvent was more important than having 15 people at your jumpy house that's only coming for your food, and then they're going to go home. And then you're trying to figure out how to pay for it later. We thought Christmas, we were doing Christmas and paying it off on the credit card all year long. Listen, you just got 3 gifts, you get 3. So pick one. And everybody got $100 is your limit. That's all mama can do. But my kids are so good to accept where I was and to be okay with this. Is all mama can do. This is what we're going to do. But I try to make it special for them. We always do a big meal. We always have family here. Our house is open. We may not have all the things, but we have everything we need. So it's a total mind shift. We commercialize everything. My kids don't get Easter baskets. They don't get new Easter clothes. We're good at what we have. If I have the money to do it, I will. Even with things like back to school stuff, because I'm a teacher doesn't mean I don't have to pay for that. I do. But I got it on sale. I shop on sale. I follow I'm couponing. I'm doing I remember one year my son was so embarrassed, but I would get these Target coupons for $5 off, and I would hit them sales at I would get free jeans, and he would go to school fresh on them coupon jeans. But I did what I had to do.
Exactly.
Clean. He smelled all right.
Yeah.
We did what we had to do. Now he can do what he want. And these kids that I have now, you know, they look very well. We haven't bought clothes in years, but you know, I shop at Goodwill. I shop at I'm out of debt and I shop at Goodwill. And people are like, why do you do that? Because I just have a knack for it. And I can find name brand stuff for $1.89. You pay $189.
Right. No, millionaires, that's one of the biggest things in their study. They shop at consignment. They're willing to pay, you know, $20, $40 for some good, sustainable clothing, but they don't spend a lot on it from a habit perspective. Two things that I didn't want us to run past too quickly, but you mentioned one, you shared your journey with the kids. And I think that's so important. And I think a lot of times, like we're scared to will my child be able to understand? They will understand it. In fact, to your point of what you're seeing from them now, it's character building. They understand, and what sounds like they've developed a great behavior of contentment. They understand that, hey, I can have those things. That's nice, but I'm not going to die if I don't have it. You know what I mean? And they appreciate and they're probably a lot more grateful for the things that they get now. And those are things you just can't, like, when you're trying to build your children, you want to build people of moral, sound character. And I think a lot of people, they withhold, hey, we kind of tight over here on the budget. I need you to kind of settle down, and this is why, but they don't tell their kids why. And their kids understand, they don't show their kids, hey, we got to pay the electric bill. This is how much money we have. All this. And I get it, but a kid's not going to know, you know what I mean, from the scenario. Like, if you tell them and you show them what you're doing, that takes them way further than anything. And I you said it so quickly. I just wanted to make sure that, I mean, a lot of people, when they're in debt free or whatever their financial scenario is, they don't necessarily share with children. You have older kids now, so obviously you guys have different conversations, but does that come up about the impact of that?
It does. One of the things that is very important to mention is this is not my journey. This is our journey, because whatever happens to me is going to affect my children in some way. So as age appropriate as I could be with my children, I had to say, this is where we are. This is what we can do. This is how much, this we can. And they understood. And even to the point of my older children, because there's 19 years between my oldest and my youngest. So she was, moving in her journey as I was just trying to raise up this last kid. But my older two, when I was struggling with getting child support from dad, would say, Mom, what do you need for the kids? Or how can we, they chip in or pitch in. If my son, he wants a big item. So I'm like, y'all want to go halves on me, with me or something? And we do it. We're a family. This is a family thing. All the finances are discussed. There's no secrets in our house. Now you have to determine what you can share with your kids and what they can understand. But my kids, we're a family. And I remember a couple of years back not having any money. And I was talking to my daughter on the phone. She was living in another city by then. And I was just telling her, this is what I'm going through. And I hear her tires go, and I'm like, what are you doing? She says, Mom, I'm turning my car around. I'm going to the bank to put some money in your account. I didn't ask her for money. I was just sharing where I was at that time. What was going on. And she took it on herself. She didn't have to. She's my kid. I should be giving to her. But she had learned the principle of giving, because I do give when I am able. And she helped me out. But we have family meetings. We have budget meetings on the computer. Everybody's talking about what it is and giving advice. Well, do you really think you need that now? What's 5 years from now looking like? Or how long is it going to take you to pay off that car? My son just bought a car. We're talking about all the things. I don't get to make all the choices for them, but they do listen to me. They've seen and they listen. So again, you got to share stuff with your kids as best. And here's another thing. You can't dog nobody out by what they're not doing. I didn't say, well, your dad don't pay child support.
Right.
This is my
Right. Right.
I had to make, this is what I have. I budget my money. I don't budget anything else but what I have. My limited teacher income. That's what I budget. Anything else, praise the Lord. But this is how we're living. This is what we got to do. And how can you be helpful in this journey?
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good. And I know just from my own perspective, it kind of went the other way, where say a lot of kids, they often do better, which is good. They get the degree, they have a better paying job, and so they have that obligation to give back to well-employed siblings, parents. I'm like, that's a different scenario. If they're not managing their money correctly, that's different from, oh man, hey, I need to say I'm doing everything I can, and I need a little bit of help, and that's being offered. But they're just coming to you because, hey, I know you got it, and say your job is for us. Nah, it don't quite work that way. And those are some emotional boundaries that you have to learn to set, because again, as a child, and for you even, you have to get yourself first. You have to get self together first. Then you can give. It doesn't matter who you want to give to, but you do have to focus. There is a time where you have to focus on self to get things going, and that just allows you to do self and others. So that was a year ago. It took 10 years. Now things are a little bit different. So I found you by way of YouTube, and you don't have no small audience there. To me, you know what I mean? You have 8,000 plus people that you reach on. I looked at your Instagram, and again, I'm gonna link those information in the group. But what type of things? How has things kind of evolved for you?
I started off on YouTube just wanting to share my journey. I wanted to share how I wanted to have the narrative that if God can do it for me, he can do it for anybody. Single mom, 4 kids, 2 girls, 2 boys. Now we got a dog. If he could take me from a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment with my kids crammed all in the one master suite, and I'm in the little room, to now us owning a home, he could do it for anybody. And so what I do is I make myself very vulnerable. I share my real numbers. I'm not hiding anything. But over the years, it has been beneficial to me because we do make now some income from YouTube. That's a second stream of income. We have some things being sold online through eBay and other sites. That's another stream of income. We've just made friends, and people have said, Shakema, was your video that helped me with my budgets, or my kids and we paid off this debt. Or I had another lady message me yesterday. She said, I just got paid. I'm paying off this last credit card, because people want to know they're doing good. And you have to say, good job. See, YouTube is so big that you can't become emotionally attached with people. And I've always said, if my channel becomes so big that I can't be emotionally attached, that's not what I'm here for. I want to say, good job, Jonathan. I'm so proud. I remember when you were sharing with me last month. I want to be so with my folks. And it's just been very helpful to be able to share a real story. This is a real story. This is just a financial piece. You don't even know the other stuff. This is the financial part, and how God has blessed me. And it's been good. So I'm thankful to be an influencer. I just did a budget update. I'm sharing this very quickly, because I know we need to move forward. But day before yesterday, we had a family emergency with my nephew, and my sister needed to fly out to Florida to be with him. And it hit me in my mind, I'm going to drain my account and give my sister the money. But I couldn't have done that a year ago. I couldn't have said, I didn't have $5 to give her a year ago. I'm at a point where I could drain my account, and it would be helpful and beneficial to her, because I how long she's going to have to be there with him. Fortunately for her, she's okay. But that was a new height for me to say, God, I have enough that I can go and give it to somebody else. And that's what I want to see for people. I want to be able to see people not struggle every single month for every single thing, to be able to have some enjoyment in their money. Be smart, be wise, be prayerful, budget it all, but not have to struggle for every single thing, because struggle finances make you make poor decisions. When you you feel like you can't ever buy nothing or get nothing, or it's all going to bills, you're going to be like, oh man, forget all this. I'm just buy something.
Right. Yeah, it's a slippery slope when you do that. So yeah, you definitely got to celebrate. I do like the fact that you said, "Hey, I started off with I just want to share my journey," and over time, and in any business, everybody wants the business to take off right away because you need it right away. But you have to understand these things, it's an investment of your time. But when you look at the long term, I mean, I'm pretty sure as I know, but I'm pretty sure when you started off, you weren't thinking about, oh, YouTube actually pays you.
Right.
And even once YouTube is paying you, oh, there are a couple products that I can put out here. There's a couple different ways that you make money off this, my story. That's not bad, but you know what I mean? Those are just opportunities people want to support. And those are resources that you can do. So it's one of those things that it is a gradual thing. And as you grow, more volume, and I'm pretty sure you can say it over that time. Yeah, it was some things you had to learn about YouTube. It was some things, it was something like, I'm not technology savvy, and I'm Lord. So I got a crash course, but it's one of those things that, are you looking at the long term of that? And to your point, what was your purpose in doing this? Mine was just to educate people. Yours is just, hey, I want people to have something that they can relate to, and I'm willing to give of myself to do that. And if you're willing to do that, yeah, the money part, all that stuff, it'll come when it's needed.
Right.
It's a little bit more in a time where, like you said, hey, it's consistent. You kind of you know something, but that you didn't have that a few years back. You know, so that's phenomenal. And then also the fact that these are completely new people that you would never meet. You know what I mean? You would never see them on the street, things of that nature. But yet you were able to encourage them. They're being blessed by that. So good. So good.
Yep.
So what would you tell people, hey, if they're in debt or they managing family, trying to understand the financial, not even financial, but the emotional pressure of, hey, I'm trying to just do right, and I'm trying to be the best parent, but I also want to get out of debt and I want to do these things. What would you encourage them to do?
I would really say, first of all, just breathe. Just, okay, we know where we all are. You know where you are. Acknowledge where you are. Then sit down and make a plan. Be consistent to the plan. Analyze the plan. If the plan don't work, what's plan B? Don't always go to plan B. Work plan A. But you got to work it. You have to be consistent in all things. And at some point, you're going to experience the lifting of that pressure that you feel, because finances can really just put some pressure that doesn't have to be there. Don't beat yourself up because you got in a situation. We all have gotten in situations, but there is relief. There is, if you're consistent to your plan, at some point, you will experience relief. And I promise you, it's worth it at the end. If you're in this co-partnering with someone that you share finances with, talk about it. Have the hard conversations. Look at the numbers and make those decisions together. That's what's important. Because when one is going this way and one is going that way and we never go together, now we have a whole nother situation and dynamic. That's not necessary. Bring each other in. Are we going to always agree? Probably not. But we need to sit down and have intellectual adult conversation about our bottom line, because it's about the bottom line. And then think about the little coworkers that live in your house that you're trying to raise. Listen, let's have this budget meeting for these other coworkers. That's what you just have to do. But I promise you, it will get better. And this is what I've said as well to different individuals, man or woman. If you're in a situation and your co-partner does not want to budget with you, budget your money. Yeah. Well, all I have is grocery money. Budget that. All I have is, he doesn't give me or she doesn't give me. Budget what you have control over and see if your stuff doesn't start to change. That's all you can do. I had a one lady, I was helping her, coaching her a little bit. And I said, you save your grocery money, save the change from your weekly grocery shops. And at the end of the month, you can do something with that money. Her spouse was not on board. And at the end of the month, she gave him $100 bill. And he said, "Where'd you get that money?" She said, "I saved it with my grocery money." And it got him on board. He was like, "Wait a minute, you're saving this much. We might could save a little bit." So you work the plan, however you got to do it. Don't be manipulative. Don't lie. Don't keep all the facts from each other. Sit, talk about it, and it'll work out. I promise. Consistency.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, I couldn't say anything. You said the little coworkers. Yeah, they gotta know. Like you can't have them. And the funny thing is, it's not that you're trying to scar them or anything. It's just the fact that even if you don't tell them there's financial pressure, they feel it anyway. So you might as well let them have some resolve and closure. Like, hey, you can't do this because of this. And the fact is, if you know, then you'll be able to tell them what it is. But if you don't know, then all y'all do something. The child just, man, they didn't know what was going on. So, so good, so good. Yeah, I definitely appreciate you coming in. So, definitely let everyone know how they can follow you, how they can support you on your journey, things that you have offering. Kind of tell them how to reach you.
Absolutely. If you're on YouTube, you can find me at 1mom2girls2boys8inall. They're all all numbers. So 1, 2, all those numbers. I'm the same over on Instagram. And then on Facebook, I'm 1mom2girls2boys8inall -home edition, because I do a lot of sharing on Facebook. Facebook and YouTube are my main things. I do offer some one-on-one budget coaching. I do offer budget courses. I also do just some other stuff. I'm actually starting a whole ladies group. We start Saturday. Very first meeting. I do speaking engagements, just all kinds of things. But just reach out if you have questions. I'm a single mom. I know what it's like. I'm here for you. Whatever you need.
Yeah. See? One conversation. Now you got all this other stuff. Yeah, you got all this other. But yeah, I definitely appreciate you coming on. Such a phenomenal story. And I definitely will tune in because I love watching your updates, love seeing your growth. And I encourage anyone, if you are on YouTube, find her channel, look at, she's very, very transparent, but if you go back to some of the older videos and then kind of progressively watch forward, you'll actually see the change in her and how things are different. And honestly, your situation, all I can tell you is if you find the plan, stick to the plan, things will change. They may not change like they did for Shakema, but they will change for you in a positive fashion. But that's just watching, being able to kind of soak it in. But yeah, until next time, you guys, next week, back with another young lady, and can't wait to share her story with you. But I appreciate you coming on there. Talk to you guys soon.